From the outside, my marriage seemed like a peaceful and respectful bond. Everything seemed fine in my marriage with David, or so I wanted to believe. I never thought that this order would change when my stepson Jack moved into our house. Jack was a determined and confident young man of 22. He was dependent on his father for years due to the absence of his mother. He lived far away, but eventually returned to this house to get closer to her. His good looks and self-confidence sometimes involuntarily attracted my attention. However, I often reminded myself that this was a wrong thought and suppressed the complex emotions inside me. I was preparing food in the kitchen that day. I was wearing my usual simple and conservative clothes. I had a scarf on my head. At that moment, everything seemed ordinary in the stream. Jack came in, and his eyes stayed on me for a moment. Then, without saying anything, he took the water bottle from the closet and asked, "Do you need anything, Jack?" He turned slightly and his voice was as relaxed as ever. "No, I just wanted to talk to you," he said, coming closer. He came very close to the water in his hand. Leaving his bottle on the table, he straightened the necklace around his neck for a moment. This movement involuntarily made me pay attention to the muscle contours of his November fingers and neck. "I want to ask you something," he suddenly said. That his voice was lower than usual, but he was determined. "Are you really happy in this house?" His words surprised me. My heart started beating fast. I asked him what he meant. He said it was very clear. "You always retreat with my father, but everything is different for me here now. Don't deny it. At that moment I had a feeling that everything in me wanted to get out. Don't say anything wrong, Jack." But my voice was trembling. He took another step forward. He was completely close to me now. He leaned his hand on the counter and looked at my face. There was a challenge in his eyes. "Why are you running away?" he asked. I tried to run away, but I was too late to move. He put his hands on my shoulders and gently leaned me against the counter. "This is wrong, Jack," I whispered, but there was no trace of determination in my voice. At that moment, he put his hands on my hair as if he wanted to gently straighten my scarf, then hesitated for a moment, but the determination in his eyes did not go away. When he grabbed my hair tightly and pulled my head back, I felt an involuntary movement inside me. That's right, it shouldn't have happened, but my body surrendered to what I was feeling. I said we couldn't do that, but the words were more like a warning to myself than an objection. She did not answer. The power and touches in her hands had drawn me to her completely with determination. This forbidden relationship that started in the kitchen that night continued in the dark corners of the room. Jack's touches were combined with the determination of a young man. Every time he held my hair, this stiffness moved me to a different dimension. I've never felt anything like this in my life. The guilt I felt when I was wiping away the marks we left in the kitchen in the morning was unbearable, but at the same time, the excitement of that moment was etched in my mind. This secret would be a burden that I would keep inside me throughout my marriage. Jack was first and foremost his father's son, but this fact will not be enough to erase that night from my memory.